We're your hosts,
Aaron Bacus
and Jason Kindler.
We like to sit down with our guests to hear their journey, their challenges, and how they impact the local community.
So grab a seat, tune in, and let's get inspired by Jacksonville's everyday workforce.
Welcome to Hometown Jax.
Welcome to Hometown Jax. I'm here today with Josh Evans. Some of you may know Josh's face. He is a staple around here in Jacksonville. But thanks for coming on the show, man. I wanted to dive in on Hometown Jax. We talk to people that make our city go round, and I love our city. And just wanted to get to kind of know a little bit more about you, man. So,
yes, sir.
Tell me a little bit about what's your background. Are you from Jax or no?
No, I'm originally from New Jersey, Irvington, New Jersey, small town, about 15 minutes, 20 minutes from New York City.
Sweet. So grew up because we'll get into your background here.
Okay.
Did you grow up a Giants fan?
You know what? To be honest, I grew up a Green Bay Packer
A Packer fan.
That shocks everybody. Yeah, I was a huge Brett Favre fan.
Oh, really?
Huge Brett Favre fan, yeah. But most of my family was either Giants, Jets, or Pittsburgh Steelers fans.
So you grew up in New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And then how long you been in Jacksonville?
Ooh, I've been in Jacksonville now over a decade. Yeah, since 2013.
How'd you find out about Jax? How'd you get here?
Ooh, okay, good question. Yeah. Good question. Well, I attended the University of Florida, played football there, was drafted 2013 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. But before I got to Jacksonville, the Florida-Georgia game was always here.
Yeah.
So I always loved the city. It was always something cool to do. You know, we used to get out Ponte Vedra Beach. That's where we kind of stayed at. And how, ironically, I move up the street from Gainesville.
Nice. So you and we'll talk about a little bit. Let's go into maybe some of the transition. Mm-hmm. I know if you want to plug your podcast, I know you've got a new podcast that you guys have started. So tell me a little bit about that.
Definitely. So the Keep It a Buck podcast with Josh and Jarvis, we started a few months ago too. It's pretty much about life transitions. We ask a lot of questions in regards to the storm before the success. Gotcha. Different professions of what people go through. We don't like to necessarily highlight you already being at the top.
Yeah.
We want to talk about that struggle, right? Yeah. What did you go through before you accomplished that or reached that goal? And how could that impact our followers of watching and understand that there's going to be some sort of struggle or adversity, and how do you push forward?
Gotcha. So going into that, I got this visual. One of the I don't know if you call it a meme or whatever, posters or whatever, it's got the iceberg.
Yeah.
And it's got the iceberg and you see just this part and it's this.
Top.
It's and all the struggles and everything you go through to get, to get where you are. So so growing up, obviously you went to Florida, right? So I'm guessing football got you to Florida.
Yes, sir.
So in New Jersey, football got you to Florida. Tell me a little bit about, let's talk about that transition. So growing up, you were played football, and then you were recruited, I'm guessing.
Yes, sir. So going through that process, I had an opportunity to go to Florida, which I was the first athlete from my high school to attend the number one university at the time.
Nice.
Go Gators.
Yeah.
But it was tough. I was fortunate to be the number one athlete in the state of New Jersey coming out. And I will say that the toughest transition was you go from, I guess, being the number one guy in high school to everybody's the number one guy.
Everybody's number one guy.
What I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I got to Florida. It's number one guy from Connecticut, number one guy from Florida, right?
Yeah.
So you're there with a bunch of number ones, and it's competitive, it's challenging, it's humbling because you got to find your way through another city and state. I'm a northern guy, and now I'm in the South. It is a different dialect, different tone. The way they talk is different. The people different. Way more slower compared to what I'm used to up north. But I feel like I needed that. You talking about a 15, 16-hour drive, right, from New Jersey. So being able to experience a different culture, different vibes, different people was something I feel like I needed in order to grow, become independent, do more things on my own, and learn what it's like to really become a young man.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you're at Florida. Who's coaching?
Urban Meyer.
So you got Urban. Okay.
Urban Meyer.
Okay. So and I have a buddy that actually played at Bowling Green.
Okay.
When Urban was at Bowling Green.
Nice.
So I know a couple stories, but man,
Right.
but that's awesome. So, so you're at Florida, and now you got life that hits you.
Yeah.
You're new in college. And what are some of the things that because obviously I know you played how many years at Florida?
4.
So you played 4 years,
Yep.
and then you got drafted. So what are some of the things that you learned at Florida that makes you the person you are today?
I would say this. Definitely playing under Urban Meyer, who's real tough, who's real competitive. As you know, his resume, what he did as a collegiate coach. The biggest thing was being consistent.
Yep.
I think as a young guy, you come in with these expectations for yourself, what you think you can accomplish, with the lack of very little work ethic, right? College by far is probably the hardest thing because you're going from a teenager to a young man, right? So you're learning accountability, you're learning how to take control of things, learning how to control an emotion, and also take coaching, right? Some guys who happen to be a little bit more talented might not get coached the best because they got all the talent in the world.
Right.
Whereas in college, right, you got to go through that process and correct those things. So it took me a while to get acclimated. This might sound a little funny, but the damn heat, Lord have mercy. It was hot as hell.
Gainesville is hot.
Man.
No water
the
around.
heat, jeez.
Right.
Like you could tell who was from up north during camp. It was like 110, 115 degrees on the turf one practice. So it took me a while to get acclimated to the heat and adjust. And also the tempo. It's such a faster tempo, from high school to college. It's a huge, huge transition. But most importantly, being on a team, I got to say what it is, with a kind of like a lot of celebrities. Tim Tebow was a celebrity. You get what I'm saying? He was a big time deal. Also a Jacksonville native. Big time deal, man. So getting to see, literally at our practice, we will have all 32 NFL teams there.
I'm sure.
Literally scouting and reporting. So you was always put in the limelight. Everybody watching, everybody paying attention to what's going on. So it brought the level of momentum. It brought the level of talent up a few more notches because you ain't just there with a few people. You're there with all eyes on you. So it was great exposure, but really just, I would say, learning how to become consistent in what you do in your craft.
So that in obviously in college, learning that, I mean, gosh, that is something that it's business. It's every aspect of life. It's something that with my team, and we talk about consistency all the time. It's sometimes not easy to get up.
Oh no,
it's not easy to get up.
Not at all.
In school, you're going to school. You're practicing. It's probably not an hour practice.
Yes.
I mean, you're especially under Urban. You're grinding.
You're getting it.
Yeah.
You're getting after it daily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you finished your 4 years at Florida. What's it like to get drafted?
Oh man, it's a dream come true.
Yeah.
I started playing this game when I was 9 years old.
Yeah.
So you play with the intentions, after you get better, you work on your craft. It's always a goal to say, hey, what would it be like to finally make it?
Yeah.
And I remember going into my senior year at the University of Florida, and the D coordinator at the time, Dan Quinn, who's also the head coach now of the Commanders, Jersey guy as well. And I remember the conversation he had with me where he was like, hey, Josh, you have plays where you look like a first-round pick. Like, you look amazing. And you also have plays where I'm questioning. You know what I mean? Like, who is this guy? Like, you're not consistent. We can always go back to that word, consistent enough. And it was challenging for me because I had to respect his truth, his honesty, but also be real with myself watching the tape that, hey, there's some plays I look great at and some plays I don't look that great at. How do I put this together and have a great senior year of being more consistent to where my team can depend on me, to make the plays that I know I can make. But definitely a dream come true. Definitely something that you put a lot of thought into in terms of what would life be from literally being broke, right, to now making a little bit of money, right?
Yeah.
What is that transitional piece of? And we'll dive into that because I think that need to be spoke about a lot more than what it is as far as understanding finances.
Yep.
But yeah, that was the biggest leap of going from nothing to something and starting a whole new life.
That's awesome. So go ahead and talk. Go into the finance
Absolutely.
part.
Absolutely. I get excited about talking about these things. But as you can see, they say people who play in sports, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, most athletes go broke after 2 years, right, of not playing, depending on how long you play, what case may be. And that's even despite how much you even make. You got people who make 50 million who still go broke, just bad finances and not understanding that. I didn't have the blessing of understanding how to invest, what to invest in. Those were all fears. I was always pretty conservative and never just splurged or felt like I had to keep up with the Joneses or do extra. But I also had to learn, too, being a conservative and not investing, your money's not making money neither, right? It's just sitting there. And I think a lot of college athletes need to take the time out and understand your finances, right? They got the NIL, they got collectives, they got quarterbacks in college making millions of dollars now, right? What are you doing with that money, right? It's scary in a way.
It is, man. The college game has completely changed.
It's wild.
I mean, getting paid in college. So knowing what to do with that money.
Knowing what to do, because here's the thing: at some point, it's going to come to an end. Right. And what do you do when it comes to an end? The one thing I wish I knew now, I knew then that I know now, was being able to invest while it's coming, right? I didn't need 50, 60, 70 to $100,000 a week, when I was playing the game. And that's what these guys are making, and even more money now compared to when I played. So when you got that and you got the right people in your ear, you're set where you don't really need the game after a few years, to be honest. It's kind of optional, right? Guys who get the years 6, 7, and 8, that's kind of more of an option. Once you've created some platform, whether it's real estate, whether it's crypto, whether it's anything you enjoy, whether it's franchises, there's so many different opportunities that you can invest your money in. The goal is to have that money making money, so when your day comes to an end, it's not empty for you, right? You still got some cash flow coming in. You can kind of sit back, relax, enjoy family, and create generational wealth.
So that's awesome. That's a great point. Obviously, I've never been in that situation, but who, is there with the NFL or college now or whatever, is there enough guys or ladies or, trusted people that are in people's ears? I mean, is it something that the NFL goes through and says, hey, we're going to teach a class on this or anything like that?
They do have it, but to answer it, no. There's not a lot of people you trust, right? And when you look at the demographic of who are the most people who's in the NFL, they don't come from that background of people who do. Now, this ain't to say you get a handful of people who do right financially or meet the right people down the road. But typically, if you don't come from a family who understands finances, right, you get the people who feel like, I have to take care of the world, right? I got to take care of mom, I got to take care of daddy, got to take care of siblings, family, whatever the case may be. And that typically be how people go broke, right? Playing the game. The league do offer things in way of, they got 1-800 numbers, or they do, I say my rookie year, they had the rookie symposium where they talk about this. But the one thing I learned, and maybe times has changed, let's go ahead and say that, maybe it's a little different. When I played, they kind of focused more on how to go broke compared to how to make money outside the game.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
So
that makes sense.
You get it's easy to go to Vegas and blow $50,000, but how do I make $50,000? Right? You know, how do I invest in this? So that's kind of what I got from it. And I didn't learn that to actually my playing days was over on how to do certain things and be in those rooms of people who understand it more.
So that's a great point, because it's always like, don't do this, but what to do?
Absolutely,
because you got
me in the right direction.
Got the money,
of course.
I mean, you
get to prove anything. When you're playing ball, you're getting to prove everything.
Yeah,
9 times out of 10.
Right. So just don't get approved for too much.
Right, you might go crazy.
Right. But that's a really good point. I like that because it's in any walk of life. I mean, we'll kind of get into I want to kind of get into what you're doing now and stuff like that. But you can't work forever.
No.
It doesn't matter what you're doing. I mean, you can't work forever. So I've always been somebody that likes to have some type of passive income.
Correct.
Whether it be investments or real estate or something like that. So, tell me a little bit about, because I know, just knowing your background, and I mean, I can look you up on Wikipedia. So, so you played with the Jags.
Yeah.
So you come to Jacksonville, you play with the Jags. How long were you with the Jags?
3 years.
3 years with the Jags. And then from there.
So from the Jags, and I ended up going to Washington.
Yep.
Was there for 2 years, got hurt in my second year in Washington, and then came back to Jacksonville.
So you come back to Jacksonville. What does that feel like where playing days might be over?
Yeah. Great question again, by the way. Another thing that needed to be spoke about, to bring more awareness to. What was that transition from my last paycheck of the league? Let's call it what it is, right? What did I go through? A lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of fear, a lot of guilt. You go through so many different phases that you're not even in control of how you feel. The craziest part is I was totally in denial of what depression was. Didn't get it, didn't understand it. I was kind of, I guess, a little normal from where I'm from, because people never really had much. So I never understood what mental health was. It wasn't until I would say my girlfriend ended up mentioning, hey, Josh, like, you need to get up and do something. Like, you're home, you're sleeping in, you're doing this, and that. And I kind of blew it off, not thinking nothing of it. But I really went from playing football all the time to nothing, right? So now I'm sitting on some money. I'm not doing anything. I'm not investing nothing at the time. And the toughest part of it all was it took me, I would say, probably 7-8 months to really get up out of it. Because a lot of it, like I said, was me being in denial, thinking I'm okay. The second part was, once again, I didn't understand mental health. I wasn't talking to a therapist at this time. I wasn't seeking any help. Trying to do it my way, and try to find ways through it. Also, I was hurt. So it wasn't like my playing days came to an end and I was trying to get back in. It was like, you're not going to play this season. I tore a quad. Yeah, I tore my quad. That's pretty much what brought my career to it.
I just felt that.
Oh, man. The quad injuries ain't no joke. They ain't no joke. But yeah, it came down to an injury, man. And that transition by far was the toughest because I didn't know. I went through a whole identity crisis. Who am I outside of being an athlete? People didn't know me outside of anything else. And it was a lot I had to prove to myself, to be honest, at that time. But I found a way to get out of it.
How'd you get out of it?
Good. So for me, I ended up actually getting in therapy, as time went on. Started finding other things that I was passionate about, which led me to opening up my first fitness gym, Level Up Fitness Jax. And to be honest, I always thought when I first opened up the gym that this would be my passion of being able to help athletes, right? I thought, my partner, Brandon Floyd, I thought he was going to handle the fitness side and I was going to handle like the athletic fitness side. And no, that's not how business went, right? That's not how business went for us at all. We got the stay-at-home moms, you get what I'm saying? We got the doctors, the lawyers, and people outside of what I thought would be, the people I would be with. So I had to learn how to adjust. And also, going back to that word, be consistent in the fitness field of, hey, Josh, you're not training athletes. Well, not at this moment, early on. Right. But that passion wasn't this freakish athlete who can bench 400-something pounds, squat 500 pounds. It was a lady named Miss Pat, who was 75 years old, okay, who got up every morning at 6 a.m.
Miss Pat.
Yeah. Okay, she had a little beach house here in Ponte Vedra, but she lived in Connecticut. She'd come down in the summer. And I remember asking Miss Pat, who came every day at 6 a.m. And at this time, I'm really working the company from like 6 a.m. to, so I'm putting hours in. I'm there all day. And I asked her one day, I said, Miss Pat, what makes you get up every morning at 6 o'clock and want to work out? Like, in my mind, I'm like 75, you can forget about it. I'm not working out. My feet is in the sand, it's kicked up, you can forget about it. I'm not training at 75. And she was like, Josh, I lost my husband a few years ago. And she was like, I know if I don't get up to be active, like I'll be next. Like I wouldn't be able to move forward. This is what keep me active. This is what push me. This is what makes me feel like I'm living again. Woke me completely up like, wow. And she's like, I thank you for being here every morning to help me get through this. And seeing her go from literally no weight, this is an older lady now, to 10 pounds meant the world to me. That was greater than me seeing any athlete run a fast 40, bench weight, squat weight. Like to me, that stood out, and I was forever connected with, hey man, the fact that I got an impact now to help others, inspire other people, play a major role in their life, to help them grow and be consistent with them meant the world to me. And I started to feel like I was living again through her.
That's awesome.
So it was amazing.
That's a cool story. That is really cool. So, with the gym, I mean, Miss Pat started the
Miss Pat got me going.
Got you going.
She got me going.
So, shout out Miss Pat.
Yes.
But so I know that's been several years now, right? So, tell me a little bit about the gym. What are you still doing? People like Miss Pat. Athletes, what? Yeah, who are you training now?
So as we grew, it did grow enough to where we were able to grow an athletic program. So over time, this was going back 2018. We opened up the gym. Over time, I was able to create the athletic program, get some of the high school, college guys, and middle schoolers and things of that nature. Where we got the program going and allocated the time for that, but. Like I said, Miss Pat kind of set it off to where I actually enjoyed that. So I was able to get my hands on with both, whether it's the transformational side of fitness and also the athletic side of fitness. Yeah.
So the athletic side, you train high school athletes.
Yeah.
So I know, when I was growing up, I mean the whole weight room, it was rickety.
Yeah.
It was rickety, and I'm a lot older than you are, but I'm like. The way that the high school athlete now is able to train and all the different recruiting sites and things like that. So have you taken guys that are in high school to go college football and then
absolutely we have several guys who we've been greatly fortunate to coach from a freshman in high school who's now in college. A few guys at NC State. A few guys at South Carolina, North Carolina. Actually, one of the guys we trained with just transferred to UNLV, who's now with Dan Mullen, who was at the Florida Gators, who recruited him. So getting to see these guys go to the next level and play there, but also get to experience a little bit, somewhat of a cheat code, I like to say, because I knew what it was like to be a college athlete. So the goal was to show them, hey, here's the tempo. Here's what you guys are going to experience. I'm not going to train you guys just at a high school level. Because sometimes in high school, you're going through a high school program where you might get one or two guys who's big guys and the rest of the team is weak as hell. Let's call it what it is. Right. So I had to explain to them, hey, here's how the body transforms, here's how the body grow. Here's what we're going to be doing on a day-to-day basis. And they understood that. They went through the athletic program and they all got the results they needed.
That's awesome. So I would say, I mean, if I'm a high school athlete and I go, okay, well, I can go train with Josh, who's been through it, who at a very high level,
absolutely,
and made the league, was in the league, and I mean, yeah, that's huge. So I've heard rumors your workouts are no joke.
Where did you hear that from?
So. With that being said, I mean, I know, and as far as the actual workouts and things like that, you guys do, I know it's more of a transformation type thing. So let's say I want to come in, I want to work out. What's the difference between going to a Bailey's or a Planet Fitness or something like that and coming and saying, hey, I want to transform my body?
Right. And that was the same questions me and my partner, Brandon Floyd, had to ask ourselves. What is going to be our niche coming to Jax Beach, right? Yeah. You got the Hive, which is like CrossFit. You got the F45, which is like group fitness, tighten up fitness, that's like bodybuilding, right? So when we're looking at this demographic of people, what can we offer that we haven't seen here in Jacksonville? Coach Floyd, who's been in the transformation industry for years, way longer than I have, and also was actually my trainer at one point, what kind of actually got me going in the fitness industry, was like, hey, man, I think if we can offer a transformation program and an athletic transformation program, that would be pretty unique here, because that isn't experienced here at all, or in this region of Florida for what I've seen. And pretty much kind of breaking down what is the transformation program. It's basically a bunch of unique movements that's catered and specialized for each individual body type. So the process at Level Up Fitness Jax, for people who sign up with us, their first day will be an assessment. So we'll get their body scan, we'll get a full posture analysis, lean muscle mass, fatty tissue. But basically, through the scan, we use the scientific data to basically customize their workout for their body type.
That's awesome.
And the reason why that's important is because people go work out at gyms but don't do the proper exercises for their body type. They might have seen something on YouTube, social media, and try to mimic that and probably doing the exercise wrong. So we're real big on the details on how to properly train for your body, understanding what your goals are, whether it's to put on muscle, whether it's to lose weight. Everything is fit to what that person needs are. And then from there, we go through processes of your first 90 days and then 6 months and kind of go throughout the year. But I've found a lot of success with definitely at the beaches, people who are able to commit to what we offer as far as the free meal plans, right? We don't even charge an extra fee for that. Why is the meals important? You are what you eat, right? And I tell people you don't diet for the taste, right? You diet for the look, right? If you get in your mind, you diet, you're going to be completely over it, right? And yes, at times we get people who struggle with diets because it's tough, you know, and eventually the goal is to make it a lifestyle change, right? To have great nutrition. But there's no way, don't think you can outwork your diet. Don't think that, hey, I can go burn 800 calories in the gym and go eat McDonald's, right? We've all been there before, right? You try to outwork the diet and it don't work. Both of them have to go together in order to get the results you need.
Yeah. So let's switch to just Jacksonville in general. Tell me what are some of the favorite things you like to do?
Ooh,
places to eat.
Places to eat.
What I mean.
I would say right now, one of my favorite places would be probably Chop House 13.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They got some good steaks there.
It is right across the street. It is so good.
Yeah, it's good. That's one of my favorite places. But really, man, I like to get into the new restaurants. You know, always trying different food. We go out, Emperor and Iron, which is up the street from where I'm at, is another great place. Yeah. So that's it. I would say I'm kind of a foodie. Yeah, I'm a foodie. I like to try different things.
What's family look like?
In terms of
food? No, so it just who's your family? You got kids?
Oh yeah. Sorry. No, you got to talk to family. Nah, you good? Yes.
What's your family order for dinner now?
Yes, I have a daughter named Amor who's 4 years old.
4 years old.
Yep.
So as far as Jacksonville goes as a whole, we've had a lot of growth. Right, we've had a lot of growth over the last 10 years, especially. Do you? And I know you dabble in real estate a little bit too. What do you think about the projection of Jacksonville? Do you think we'll continue to grow? Do you think how are we set up in Jacksonville?
Absolutely, Jacksonville is going to probably become, if not the number one market for real estate. Definitely in terms of what they're doing downtown and St. John's, the things that they're building, a great area, and I think there's so much still to come, here. And if you notice, a lot of people from up north has actually been moving. I've met so many people from New York, Boston, coming down here to kind of get into this market. And also, too, you're getting a lot of more bang for your buck here. Let's call it what it is, too. I've seen some of my friends who moved to L.A. and even in Massachusetts is like, they're paying arm and a leg, at these places to live. So there's so many different new restaurants, parks, and with it being so much land, I want to say, is Jacksonville the biggest city land-wise or something like that?
It is. And what's crazy to me is there's still so much that's undeveloped. I lived in Atlanta for a number of years, and it's like it's like there's no land in Atlanta. It's like everything is built on it. I look around here, I'm like, man, there's
so much.
There's so much. So I think
so much to build here.
I think we're in a good run. Real estate, and then it's grown. It's grown tremendously. So the new stadium's coming, a couple of years.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
So Jags are supposed to play in Gainesville. From what
did they confirm it?
I don't know if it's confirmed.
I think I saw something either Gainesville or Orlando.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So what does that do for just for the city? What does a new stadium do for the city?
It brings in so much more revenue. Yeah. In terms, great business idea too, by the way, because now you're able to get those A-list celebrities, right, that come during the off season. You might get the Beyoncés and Taylor Swifts of the world who come here, which is going to thrive, right? Yeah. The community. And on top of that, I think it's also going to make people want to come out and support more. Yeah. Want to be there because there's so much different amenities and things that they have going on, plus the hotel. I think that they're building down the strip.
Building a hotel.
Yep.
I mean, I've always said, and just like I said, coming from Atlanta years ago, I always loved downtown. I love downtown living and stuff, and we don't have that quite yet. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to, if obviously the stadium, but also what's around the stadium.
Correct.
The hotels, you can get some, maybe we'll have condos, restaurants, nightlife and stuff like that. So,
do you think they're gonna relocate the prison that's down there? Because it's like slap dead in the middle of everything. Like if they find a way to move that probably to the north side, which I'm hoping they do.
Yeah, I hope so.
That's gonna make downtown that much better than what it is.
Yeah, I would think so.
I hope so.
Yeah.
That's the one thing, because it's going to be crazy. They lighten downtown up a little bit, build some more condos and bars and restaurants.
Yeah.
Downtown.
So I mean, because at the Jags games now, you go to the game and it's kind of like, oh, you go home.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if there's like, you kind of go, and even if you're local, spend a weekend down there. Go rent something for a weekend or have a condo down there.
Well, when you also look at the people who fly in for the opposite opponent, what do you do when you fly into Jacksonville?
That's true.
And you're staying downtown, you don't know where to stay, right? Most people are going to probably stay close to the stadium somewhere. Where are you going to go?
Yeah.
Right? So now that they're building this, I think this is going to create more opportunities for people to want to get out, spend a little bit more money, but also have a Jacksonville experience.
So I mean, think about it now. One thing I do love about Jacksonville is I could be at the beach and I can have that beach feel. I could be, in suburban, type area. I could be in the shopping area. I could be the one piece. Give me downtown, and now we got it all.
Oh yeah.
So, any other businesses or anything else that you want to touch on?
I would say, like I said, real estate has been awesome for me. As you've helped me a lot in terms of that. I wish, like I said, I wish I knew more at that time. I probably had 20 properties, 30 properties and things of that nature. But it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing to have that, to use as collateral, to borrow against, get to experience different ways of leveraging my cash and my cash flow, and other things that I can get into. I've dabbled in a few different things, as far as the trucking company, a little bit of crypto, which is crazy, by the way. Not crazy, but crypto is crypto.
Yes, I'm aware.
It's a different field. But I will say, if I'm going to lose anything or gamble, it's going to be with an investment. You're never going to see me gamble and lose money on luxury items or liabilities. It's going to be something I feel interested in with an educated guess or study that, hey, there's going to be some form of income coming back from it. And I'll just try to be smart with it. What's next for me, which we're going to talk about too, is I want to get into commercial real estate as well, whether that's owning 50 units to 100 units, whatever that looks like, finding the way to leave my mark. So when that day comes for me, if I'm no longer here, my children has access to X, Y, Z.
Isn't it interesting? Because I do go with the same thing. It's interesting as we get older. It's like that legacy starts it starts to play. Because 10 years ago it wasn't. Now I'm starting to think, okay, maybe I got to leave this. And,
It's important, and definitely important for me, because like I said, I know my dad wasn't taught this, right? And I know, Lord willing, he's with us for 20 more years. My dad is 74 years old, and it's not going to be much that's left behind. We're not getting the land and a mule and sheep and this farm, right? We're going to get probably a little bit of life insurance money, and that's it. So you live and you learn from that, right? How can I leave a stamp to where at least I'm able to get my family up off the ground? Where daddy left this, I got y'all the starting ground of it. Now it's up to y'all to keep it, and maybe this lasts more generations down the line.
Awesome. Anything else you want to kind of wrap on?
Anything you want to ask?
So really the kind of the, just summarize a little bit here. I've known Josh for several years, and one thing that I have taken away from some of the stuff that you on the body transformations and stuff like that. One thing that is certain is that you are consistent. Just like you said, you learn that, and you are a consistent person. Just a plug for the gym is like, I've been through this before many years ago with you. If you want results, like, it's not just go try to do it by yourself.
Oh yeah.
Spend a little bit of money, get you and your team as trainers, and it makes all the difference in the world. So, again, Hometown Jax, we want to just highlight some awesome people in the community, and you're one of those people. And we appreciate you being drafted by the Jags and sticking around.
Yes,
so, it's been a pleasure, man. I appreciate you coming in, and let's do it again.
Definitely. Before we wrap up, I want to thank you. I want to thank you and your team in regards of being consistent. As you know, I went through a crazy refi, with one of my rental properties. And it was you guys who actually made that happen. Took us a few months to get it done. That was kind of out of everybody's control. Yep. But I want to thank you guys, because that was life-changing for me, my family, and it regulated so many things in my life where it gave me a fresh start for 2025. Nice. And without you guys, I would have still probably been banging at your door saying, hey, Jason, let's get it going. But no, man, your team, everybody communicated effectively. Everybody was consistent with just the communication on what I needed to get done. And I thank you for that, because we got so much work to do down the line. And once again, man, I'm
put you in a good spot moving forward.
I'm feeling real good.
No, good.
Real good.
All right, brother. Well, I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, brother.
All right.
The Hometown Jax podcast is recorded and produced by First Coast Mortgage Funding, located in the heart of Jacksonville. Do you want to be our next guest? Visit our website at hometownjaxpodcast.com. We can't wait to hear your story.